recently I saw something interesting on the Xbox Live Top 50 Most Played list. At the time, for number 48, I saw Battlefield 2042. A kudos to them for getting popular again after the disastrous start. But the one right below it, number 49, was Battlefront 2. It was like, holy crap. Star Wars Battlefront 2 EA version was literally one spot below Battlefield 2042, and it just made me realize just how big they've completely fumbled it, because it's like the game that you discontinued is literally right next to the one that you're currently working on. Just how much more popular it would be than the current Battlefield, and it's just like, man, EA is allergic to money or something. I don't know what it is. But seeing that actually gave me the idea. It's like, since EA no longer has exclusive rights to Star Wars, I might as well, put some ideas out there for some Star Wars video games I'd like to see. And some of it will come from the past, but some of it's going to be stuff we may have not seen before. So I'd like you to listen to the video, tell me what you think of my ideas, and, in the comments, bring out some of your own ideas if you'd like. Now, the first thing I would like to see when it comes to a Star Wars game, admittedly, is a spiritual successor to Star Wars Republic Commando. And I know what some of you people might be thinking. Another Star Wars first-person shooter game, we have, the Battlefront games. And to that I say, that's a good point. But Battlefront was always more of the big skirmishes. That's why DICE had Battlefront. But what I'd like to see is maybe an arena shooter Star Wars game that takes what Republic Commandos did and just modernizes it. Gameplay-wise, Republic Commando is the best squad-based FPS game I've ever played, but Republic Commando is like what Halo 5 wish it could have been. So, the first thing I would like to see with the spiritual successor is an actual story. I know Republic Commando had a campaign, but let's be honest here, it was just random missions that Delta Squad did, which was good during the time, but I would like to see an actual story play out and see character development and stuff like that. Like, sure, the thing that happened on Kashyyyk with Sev was great. It's not like they had character arcs and built up to it. It was just kind of like the first day of the war on Geonosis, or a year later after Geonosis. And then it goes to the last few months, if not weeks, of the Clone Wars. So there's like massive time skips where we miss a very large and important chunk of information. Now, the second thing I would really love to see with the Republic Commando's spiritual successor is I would just love to see Star Wars as an arena shooter in a more modern sense. Because yeah, we still have Republic Commandos on PC. But I would love to see it upgraded on the Xbox Series S, X, PS5, and just modern looking graphics, modern day sensibilities. I think if put in the right hands, it could be done really well. And it would, in my opinion, be pretty goated. Now, the next idea I would like to see is a Star Wars action adventure RPG game. Or, something like Star Wars The Old Republic, but single player, / KOTOR, except I don't want to see the combat that those games have. I consider it to be really dated, and it's kind of hard for some players to get into just because of how weird it feels. Like, I know some MMOs still do it, I don't know the term for it, but where you click the ability bars at the bottom and that's the only way your character attacks. But I'd like to see a more modern Fallout, Skyrim, The Outer Worlds, The Witcher, just an action-adventure RPG game. It's something where you can roleplay and you have choices and you can affect the world around you. But in a Star Wars game with kind of like Republic Commandos, modern sensibilities. And if this game was to come out, I would like it to take the Star Wars The Old Republic approach, where you could kind of pick career like Sith Warrior, Sith Inquisitor, Bounty Hunter, Smuggler, Jedi Knight, Acolyte, I think. So, something like that. Be able to pick your profession, and then the story is specially tailored towards what character you chose. I think that would be very cool. And I don't necessarily would want to see it as an MMO since we already got Star Wars The Old Republic, but I think a new single-player experience in the Star Wars galaxy is definitely needed after this long drought we've had the past 10 years. Also, another thing that this game would need, for me personally on my wish list, and this would give it ultimate replayability, is if you gave it mod support. If you gave this game mod support and you let modders go wild with your game, then there would just be years and years and years of content that you wouldn't even have to make yourself. Like, you could still make your own content and, make money off of it from DLC, like expanding the story and stuff. But when you let the community make their own content, your game lasts forever. Just ask Skyrim. And the last idea that I have that I would like to see from the post-EA exclusive era would be a Star Wars horror game. For me specifically, I would like to see it based off of, at least loosely, the Star Wars Legends book, Death Trooper, which essentially has zombies on a Star Destroyer because of some, I don't know, Imperial experiments or something. I'm not going to go too spoiler on it. But I've always wanted to see Star Wars hit the horror game genre because honestly, with the unique setting that Star Wars has, and considering the Galactic Empire is like the easiest villain to have ever to do, you can just do anything bad with them and be like Palpatine just did it to do it, and people would buy it. It's just like, why not? Make a Star Wars horror game. And it doesn't even have to be in the Imperial era if you're bored of that. Like, you could do the Old Republic, you could even do the prequel era, or if you really wanted to, you could do some First Order sequel era stuff, make them look extra evil and kind of promote your, I hear there's a new movie coming out that's going to be based after the sequels, so do it then if you really want to. But it's just something I've always wanted for them to at least try. And the same with Halo, by the way, too. Both of those IPs need to try a horror game. And I'm not even a horror fan, and I want this. Also, just imagine the really cool zombie horde mode that we could get off of a Star Wars game that had a horror setting to it. Like, it could be like some COD Zombies, Left 4 Dead, or something like that, right? We could just have a really cool and unique multiplayer that wouldn't step on the shoes of like Battlefront, Republic Commando, or just any other game, TIE Squadrons or whatever that game's called that EA made that they basically don't care about. It would just be a really cool idea, and I want to see it. Please, whatever publishers out there, make a Star Wars horror game. If I really thought about it, I could easily come up with more than 3 ideas. But those are the ideas I wanted to bring up in this video to keep it somewhat short. So again, just give me some ideas you have in the comments if you want to. Thank you for watching the video, and...
I'm sorry, sir. It's time for you to leave.